Good evening, and thank you for joining us on CoreTV News on the hour. I am Ebulomo Adekunle. President Goodluck Jonathan has for the first time revealed the real reason why MENT leader Henry Oka is being detained in South Africa. The president, who kicked off his campaign in Lagos for next month's presidential election under the PDP platform, accuses Oka of attempting to assassinate him in Abuja. He also faulted the APC presidential candidate Muhammadu Buhari for raising issues without preferring solutions in his ongoing campaigns. He added that some past leaders, including Buhari, plunged the country into darkness. Oluwaseyi Adegoke was at the campaign rally and filed in this report.
The Tafawa Balewa Square venue of the campaign rally was filled to capacity as party chieftains, PDP governors and governorship candidates, as well as party faithful and supporters across the country, arrived early enough to take their seats for the occasion. The rally featured notable Nollywood stars who took turns at the podium to canvass support for Jonathan. They were followed thereafter by some PDP governors and the party's chieftains in the southwest, who also enjoined Nigerians to vote Jonathan and the PDP in the coming elections.
We will not settle for a president with less than a university degree. The imminent return for another 4 years of the president is inevitable. The president, Goodluck Jonathan, will return.
We have a candidate that does not even campaign with his wife or with any woman. And we have another candidate, our own candidate, that has said 35% for women. Women have never had it so good.
The Vice President Namadi Sambo and PDP Chairman Adamu Muazu assured Nigerians of the continuation of Jonathan's transformation agenda, adding that the PDP is the right choice for Nigerians. Speaking on behalf of all parties' governorship candidates across Nigeria, after being presented with their flags, Jimmy Agbaje of Lagos PDP vows that all of them will win in their various states.
I want to assure that it is not just winning our own elections, but we guarantee that come February 14, 2015, the next president for Nigeria will be President Goodluck Jonathan.
The man of the moment, President Jonathan, did not mince words as he took the opposition as well as some past leaderships of the country to cleaners. He accused them, especially the APC presidential candidate, of creating problems for the country as a military ruler, which have subsisted till date.
And somebody who wakes up and tells young people of 23 years old that he wants to fight insecurity, ask him, when he was the head of government, did he buy one rifle for a Nigerian soldier? These people did not buy anything for the Nigerian soldier. They refuse to equip them. Everything dead, no attack helicopters, no nothing. You don't just wake up and enter the street and arrest one person and lock up and show on television and say you're fighting corruption. If they have succeeded in fighting corruption, corruption wouldn't have been with us today.
Jonathan, for the first time, among other reasons, revealed why leader of the MENT, Henry Oka, is languishing in a South African prison. 1st
October 2010, when we were to celebrate our independence, our golden year of 50 years of independence, Oka was procured by some Nigerians to assassinate me. And Oka bombed Abuja. The attempt was to assassinate me, but intelligence investigation from South African intelligence system and Nigerian intelligence system roped him in that plan to assassinate me, and is now in jail in South Africa, and they say MENT dumped Jonathan.
Lucky to have escaped the assassin's bullet, Jonathan may need more luck if he is to win the forthcoming presidential election, as his major contender, Muhammadu Buhari, has also intensified his campaign across the country. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta MENT has challenged President Goodluck Jonathan to name the people it claims paid Henry Oka to assassinate him. The group also wants the president to explain why the people were not arrested and prosecuted for the attempt on his life. MENT said in a third statement issued in many days that the allegations made at a campaign rally in Lagos are a vindication of its position on Jonathan. Its spokesperson, Jomo Bomo noted in the statement that the group would not have issued a prior warning on the Independence Day bombing if it was an assassination attempt. The Niger Delta militant group also recalled that the president had absorbed men of blame shortly after the twin bomb attack that killed at least 12 people in Abuja in 2010. The presidency has advised the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, to disregard the endorsement he recently received from the Movement for the Emancipation of the Niger Delta, MEND. This, according to the presidential spokesman, Reuben Abati, is because the people of the Niger Delta and other Nigerians and with his principle. He said in a statement that all the claims made by MEND in endorsing Buhari were baseless and deliberately styled to denigrate President Jonathan. Abati described the group as the renegade faction of MEND, which has continued with its personal vendetta against the president in spite of the conviction of Henry Oka, its leader. The All Progressives Congress says it will transform the nation's oil and gas sector within its first 12 months in office if it emerges victorious at the February 14th presidential polls. The party's spokesman, Lai Mohammed, made this promise at the second series of the Nigerian political parties discussion in Abuja. But the ruling party has described such claims as empty promises, as Basiagi reports.
We are going to institute merit-based affirmative action.
He is not staying.
This is the second in a series of political discourse in the run-up to next month's election. It is a platform created by the civil society to allow Nigeria's leading political parties present their manifestos and approaches towards addressing issues in the key sectors of the economy. Here, the discussions is centered around the oil and gas sector, but it seems the opposition is better prepared. Its spokesman was on hand to give detailed accounts of its intervention, especially on the petroleum industry bill.
We would pledge here that within the first 12 months of being in power, we shall implement a branch and root reform in the oil and gas industry. We are going to pass into law the PIB, not the one before them now, because we don't even know what the contents, because we don't know what the contents are. And we want Nigerians to hold us to account if within 12 months we do not, keep this promise.
He also revealed that his party would work towards cutting the NNPC to size, as well as reducing the powers of the petroleum minister, amongst others.
One mistake we will not make, which this present government is making, is that they are mixing the commercial aspect of this industry, with the operation aspect. And I'll tell you why. Today, who collects revenue from oil? It is the federal revenue. They don't know how much it costs for 1 barrel of crude to produce. So what is based on the taxation? Now, but this is why we say, you let NNPC face operation. Let's have an independent regulatory body, and then we have a commercial body that can deal with all these issues.
Then came the turn of the ruling party PDP, whose representative chose to lighten the mood of the gathering. He, however, maintained that the party is keen on consolidating ongoing programs and policies.
You can see that the opposition don't have a plan. All they're saying is when they get there, they start looking for us. Now we are going to build on what... No, you can't. We already do have a performance. We already have a mindset. We already have a paper. Let me tell you one small pointer. Obasanjo, everything he did it in his second term. What we promise you is all the suppositions and suggestions you seen, we shall give bulletproof expression to the minute we come in. No, we don't even need any 12 months. Within 6 months, you will see
Although both individuals tried their best to convince the audience and Nigerians at large
Many, especially civil society groups, remain in doubt of the party's intentions. This, according to them, is because they have not presented very clear positions of their parties on the mainstay of the Nigerian economy. Basiaye, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The Independent National Electoral Commission says it has distributed over 38 million out of 54,341,000 permanent voter cards as of January 7, 2015. This, according to the Commission, represents 71.3% of the population. Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman Kayode Dowu said in a statement that 15,567 PVCs have yet to be collected across the country. This, it says, is contrary to reports in some newspapers that PVC distribution is skewed in favor of states in northern Nigeria. A breakdown of the list shows that Jigawa State recorded the highest rate of PVC collection with 94%, while more than half of eligible voters in the FCT have yet to collect their cards. In Lagos State, where government officials and residents have been critical of INEC, the Commission says 53% or slightly over 2 million registered voters have picked up their cards, while about 1.8 million cards have yet to be distributed. The Commission did not provide any figure for Borno State, but noted that the figure released are not final because the distribution of PVCs will continue until a few days to the first election. Here is the breakdown. INEC. Civil rights activists have also expressed grave concerns over the poor distribution of permanent voter cards across the country. The activists, who converged in Abuja on the platform of Say No campaign, urged the Independent National Electoral Commission to move fast to save the situation. They also urged members of the political class to guard their utterances during campaigns.
Credible elections are predicated on one fact, which is the credibility of the voters' register. If the voters' register or its credibility is called to question, it impugns on the credibility of the elections generally. And we are particularly concerned on how INEC has managed the continuous voter registration process and the PVC distribution exercise. As much as INEC has come up to say that they are sufficiently ready for the February 14th and 28th polls, we are deeply concerned that the indicators that we see do not portray the Commission as being prepared for February 14th and February 28th elections. However, as much as we support the use of card readers, we are also worried, first, with the procurement of these card readers. Whilst the Commission claims that these card readers are already on ground, reports reaching Say No campaign clearly shows that all the card readers are not yet on ground for use in February polls.
In terms of actually seeking information from INEC, for example, or holding INEC to account, it is the duty of every citizen to be able to do that. And that's just the message that we are giving to Nigerian citizens, that they should do this and work in that manner. And we have said that, well, for example, we are going to be organizing rallies. We have also said that Nigerians should stay and protect their votes and the rest of that. But we have said, everything that we have said is that this should be done in a non-violent manner and in a manner that even your opponents would consider you that you are being responsible.
The United States government has said there are no signs that Nigeria will disintegrate before, during, or after the February general elections. While explaining that Nigeria is facing big challenges, the U.S. ambassador to Nigeria, James Nswissel, stated that the problems at stake were surmountable. According to the American envoy, Nigerians should throw out of the window the idea from some think tank or somebody outside the U.S. government stating that Nigeria would fall apart in 2015. Nswissel spoke in Lagos on Thursday during an interactive session with journalists on the recent donation of a U.S. naval ship christened NNS Okbabana to the Nigerian Navy. Nswissel added that if the federal government did what needs to be done in the coming years, especially as pertaining to security, corruption, among others, the future of Nigeria would be very bright. He debunked the insinuation that the President Barack Obama administration has imposed an arms embargo on Nigeria following the reported refusal of the American government to sell Cobra helicopters to the federal government to prosecute the ongoing war against terrorism. In an effort to ensure violent-free elections in February, the United States Ambassador to Nigeria, James Nswissel, and the Consul General, Jeff Hawken, met with Lagos PDP chieftains on Friday behind closed door. The PDP governorship candidate in the state, Jimmy Agbaje, briefing journalists after the meeting, says the interaction is to ensure, among other things, violent-free elections and promised that the Lagos PDP is ready to ensure a smooth process.
We spoke about issues of INEC. We made it very clear that we're still not satisfied with the INEC, with the issue of voters' cards. There are a lot of Lagosians that are disenfranchised at this point in time because they don't have their voters' cards. They fall into different categories. You have those whose names were wiped out from the computer completely through no fault of theirs. And when your name is wiped out, it means the only way forward is to register fresh. But then INEC was not ready for the kind of fresh registration that would bring about. You have those, of course, whose locations had been changed. In other words, where they normally vote, register and vote, they found that they had been located far away from where they stay. On election day, it will become difficult for them to go and vote because of the restriction of movement. So these are some of the issues that were raised. There are those, of course, the younger ones who wanted to register but could not because a lot of the machines were not working because the time frame was short. So we raised some of these issues.
TV News on the hour. Take a break and we'll return with more stories. Please stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Thank you for being there. And for more news and other information, you can visit a social media platform. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV with a space, then news. The Nigerian authorities have confirmed that troops are at present engaging Boko Haram insurgents in Baga with a view to recapturing the fishing town on the fringes of Lake Chad. This comes against the backdrop of reports of alleged atrocities by insurgents in the strategic northeast Nigerian town. Coordinator of the National Information Center, Michael Mary, said at a press briefing in Abuja that the situation in the town is improving. He, however, refused to shed more light on developments in Baga on the grounds that military operations are still ongoing.
On the situation in Baga, while confirming the presence of Boko Haram terrorists in some locations in Yobe, Adamawa, and Borno states, we wish to inform you that the situation in Baga is gradually improving since the last attack on the town. Security forces are working hard to ensure the full liberation of the strategic dam and other places close to it. As you are aware, as we've always said, full disclosures of military operations are best not discussed publicly. Equally, government is constantly reviewing the situation with regards to the fight against insurgency in order to improve logistics requirement and support for the security forces to enable the defeat of the insurgents. Officers are being trained and retrained continuously to upgrade their skills and capacity, while increased surveillance, intelligence sharing, and synergy are being enhanced. Also, and evidently so, consultations with security chiefs, serving and retired, traditional rulers, community leaders, and other critical stakeholders with a view to bringing their varied experiences to bear on the fight against insurgency are ongoing. We want to encourage all well-meaning Nigerians and leaders to emulate friendly countries who have thrown their weight behind Nigeria in this fight. The path of patriotism and honor is not to wait until we get into government before we contribute to serve or save the lives of our citizens.
The federal government says there was never a time that Nigeria's foreign reserves rose to $67 billion, contrary to claims made by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. The former president had alleged that the Jonathan administration squandered about $30 billion for the nation's savings. But the government, through the Ministry of Finance, says anyone familiar with foreign reserves management should know that the federal government cannot dip its hands into it at will. It explained in a statement that the management of external reserves was one of the statutory mandates of the Central Bank of Nigeria since the CBN Act of 2007 went into operation. The Finance Ministry noted that as at May 2007, Nigerians' gross reserves stood at $43.13 billion, comprising the CBN's external reserves of $31.5 billion, $9.43 billion in the excess crude account, and $2.18 billion in the federal government savings. It said that the reserves were, among others, used to settle foreign currency obligations, including the importation of equipment for the power sector. An Abuja-based development economist and financial analyst, Odelim Enwegara, says it's not possible for any president to mismanage Nigeria's foreign reserves under the CBN Act of 2007. He told journalists that former President Olusegun Obasanjo should have known that the central bank solely manages the foreign reserves account. The finance analysts noted that if any money is missing from the account, all CBN governors since 2007 should be the ones to explain what happened to the funds kept in their custody.
So what I'm telling you is in 2007 it's practically impossible. There's no way Jonathan should have done that without asking the central bank to give him that money. The central bank will not give him that money without providing the Naira equivalent, because it's the dollar they use in defending the Naira. So, and bear in mind that also it was not Jonathan that appointed Sanusi, who until recently was the central bank governor. So I think that Obasanjo was confusing matters, because if he said that the Jonathan appointed MFL or Yar'Adua appointed Sanusi, and these governors mismanaged our foreign reserves, it makes sense to me. Where Obasanjo could have made sense would have been to say that when oil price was falling, we would have devalued Naira quickly so that to discourage the capital flight, people needing dollar in exchange of Naira and taken out of the country. But that policy is not in the hand of the president. You see, I'm not a member of PDP. I am speaking as an economist who understands this issue very, very well. And I want Nigerians to understand that a sitting president, unless in a dictatorship or before 2007, can access the foreign exchange of this country. It is owned by the central bank.
You said before 2007. What do you
Before 2007, because I was a joke, would have made sense, would have been to say that when oil price was falling, central bank.
And that's it on CoreTV News for this time. Join us again top of the hour for more. Thank you for watching. I am Ebun Lomo Adekunle.